Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is a beautiful day. It's very warm outside today. I'm wearing this because it's a light wind, hopefully not too bad. But today's video, we're going to be planting our herbs box. Now I'm going to show you everything here that I have. Okay, so these are all the herbs we're going to plant, including these strawberries, which are fruits. Now you're going to need a little shovel, two gloves, and one of these containers. I'm also using this garden tone just to give these a little boost to help the roots a little bit. Because keep in mind, we're still in April. It's the beginning of spring, and most of these herbs that I'm planting like warm weather. Okay. Now this is I've looked up the weather, and for the next few weeks, literally, we're getting warm weather. Warm as in warm in the day, and during the nights it gets a little chilly, but it's not under 35. Now, for one, strawberries. I'm gonna plant strawberries, and strawberries like the weather of from where it's like 35, 40 to about 85 degrees weather, and this can grow comfortable. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I'm actually gonna plant the strawberries now. Um, we got this here is, let's see, this is peppermint. Now we're gonna plant this peppermint as well, but let me tell you, peppermint, basil. We're gonna plant basil. We're gonna plant some green onions, which we call shallots. Um, we're gonna do some rosemary. And what is this? We're also lavender. We're also going to plant some lavender. Okay. Oh, I forgot my thyme. I have some thyme over here, but I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. Now, some of these plants grow very vigorously. So you got to be really careful as to when you're putting them together. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Now, over the years of planting herbs in containers or in raised beds or so, I gain a little bit of experience knowing what to plant and what not to plant, how to plant it, because it's something that I use every day. So I gain a little bit more experience each time I plant it. And let me tell you, some of them could be horrible, although you love it. It could really be horrible when you plant them because they just tend to take over. Anyway, so I'm gonna remove this from the bed. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna plant them, and we're gonna get into it right now. Okay, so this is very loose soil that I had changed in I think it's in the fall that I changed it. And so if you see, it's nice and loose. So what I'm gonna do, I didn't put any what is it called? I didn't put any compost or anything to the top. All I'm gonna do to this soil is add my garden tone and mix it in well. This box is a little low on soil, so I'm thinking maybe I should add a little bit, but at the same time, I'm thinking don't do anything to it. You know what? We're just going to add a little bit more soil to the top. Okay, so I add some more garden soil. I didn't add the compost because the garden soil have compost in it. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the garden tone. just to amend this as well. So since we add the soil in there. Now earlier I mentioned about the thyme. Now I have a thyme growing in here since last year. And I've been cutting and cutting from it. And then eventually during the winter it kind of died back, sort of, because thyme is a perennial. And so once it went back, I couldn't cut anymore. So I took a piece of it and took it into the house. And that's what I've been growing in my house, in my kitchen, in a small pot. And I've been using it through the year. Now, for the spring, the thyme came back, which is very good. So I already have thyme in this raised box. Now, one thing about planting herbs, when you're planting herbs, you want to make sure that it's a spot close to your kitchen, because that's the reason why you're actually having a herb garden or a herb planter or whatever, a plant box or, a herb box, herb planter. I am using this raised bed and it's a little off from my patio, so I can easily come down the stairs and just cut from it. Now, the first thing that I want to plant is this mint. And the reason I'm planting the mint first is because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this pot. Now, mint sometimes grow very vigorous, no matter what kind of mint it is or a plain is passing. Okay, so mint grow vigorous to me no matter what kind of mint it is. So what I'm going to do is put the mint in a corner. Now the reason I have this pot here, hopefully you can hear me. The plane is not quite gone yet. Okay, so the reason why I have this pot here is because what I'm going to do is put this pot inside of this raised bed and put this inside of it with some more soil. And what's going to happen, it's going to control the root ball from spreading all over in this raised bed. So I'm going to put that in a corner. So what I'm going to do, that's why I had my little shovel. I'm going to just rake this up. Now there's a possibility that this mint can get so big and come through these holes on this pot. However, because I use this so often, I use all these herbs so often, it doesn't really give it a chance to get too overgrown. So I'm gonna hope we're gonna take it out this pot, and you can see it's root bound already. Of course it is. It's mint. Yeah, I'm gonna give it some soil, and I'm gonna basically plant it in this pot, but it's gonna be in my raised bed. I actually saw this trick on YouTube last year, and I did it last year and it worked so good. The roots didn't get a chance to come out of the pot. However, man, I had one in my raised bed garden, and oh my goodness, it took over. So this is how we're gonna do this. See, you can still see the pot. So at any time you can actually lift this pot up, and that's it. We just planted mint. And again, that is going to control the root, hopefully. Now, the next thing we're going to plant here is basil. Now, basil is known to get very big, very wide. And I love basil. So I mean, I do homemade pizzas. I put basil. I put basil in everything. So I love that the basil is going to get, big. Again, if you're not a person that use basil a lot, this will drive you nuts. But for me, because I use it a lot, I love when it gets big. And you clearly see I'm digging these holes way too big. But here, there it goes. Now I put that in the middle because that's basically going to be the star of the show. Last year I planted tomato in this box as well. But this year, I'm not going to do tomatoes in this box. Now I'm putting the tags right next to whatever I plant, just so I remember what I plant. Because sometimes we just tend to forget what we plant. Now the next one is rosemary. So I'm going to put rosemary just over here, right next to the thyme. Because this is going to be like a structured plant, of course. Rosemary is always structured. And then we have our green onions. Now, this year I used, in January, I used recycled milk cartons to plant some of my spring weather crop or anything that I was going to plant for summer. And I used this as a greenhouse in order to allow it to grow outside. Now, this is one of the things I plant in February, which is green onions, and we call it shallot. So as you can see, it's coming up nicely. So what I'm going to do is just transfer it to this bed and allow it to grow as nice as it want to be. So we're going to put that right in this corner here, because this is also going to be a structured plant. Now, instead of separating it all, what I'm going to do, it's loosened up. Okay, let's see how we can get this out. Let's see, I'm going to get a scissors and cut the pot so it doesn't loose out one by one. Okay, so what I did was get a scissors and cut the pot. And I'm going to put my soil. What I'm going to do is just push it out of this. Now, the reason I just pushed it out is because this was not, it's not root bound or anything. It's very young. It's now growing, now developing the roots. So it's going to develop its roots in this pot. Now, right now, it doesn't look its best right now. But as the sunlight get it, it's going to literally pop up and start growing. Now, some of them did pull out, and you can see how stringy it is because it's very young. It's now forming its roots. And that's taking a risk when you're planting it out here and the weather, if the weather is a little too chilly or so. But I should name this garden the risk taker, because I love taking risks. And that's me. All right, the next one we're going to be planting is lavender. And the lavender, I'm going to put in this corner right here. Ooh, this lavender smells so good. Smell really good. Now, as time goes by, if you feel like any of these herbs are getting way too big and you're not getting to use them as fast, you can always dig them out and put it in a pot. That's what I would recommend, because in this garden here, we use everything. That's why I plant them. Now, these are all the strawberries that I'm going to plant. There's 3 of them right now here. And I'm putting them up high because I have some, you know how they say vigorous plants. I have some vigorous squirrels that comes around here and eat all my stuff, you know. When I plant stuff, I gotta cater for the squirrels as well. Now the strawberries, the space that I would like to give the strawberries, I got this basil way too much up here. So what I'm gonna do is just push this basil back a little bit. There you go. So it's still gonna be the center of attention. And then my little strawberries, I'm gonna tuck them in. Now I think strawberries should be about, what is it? I'm trying to see the tag, how many inches apart. It grows 12 inches high, 30 to 40 centimeters apart. It looks like that's what I'm seeing. The tag is so muddy I can't see it properly, but I hope that's what I'm seeing. But anyway, the amount of space sometimes these things required is not the amount of space that we can give them. So let's see how this goes. And we're gonna keep up with how this is growing. So you'll definitely see the process of this. And if I get any strawberries at all. Because sometimes, again, the squirrels get it before me. All right, guys, so this is it. My herbs and strawberries raised bed is finished. Everything is planted. It looks really nice. It has enough space, I think, through and through. Of course, this is going to get way too big. But like I said, I use it so often. You know, this is going to grow up. The thyme is going to spread. The lavender. This mint is contained. And we got the chives. And we're going to keep an eye on it to see how it grows, to know if we got to move anything. But I don't think so. I really don't think so. I really think everything have enough space. And everything is going to grow at its full potential and look amazing. Anyway, that is it for this bed. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have an amazing day. Hope you get a chance to do something beautiful today, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.